everybody in Prepper Land. Perrin Lovett here for the Prepper Post News on Wednesday, December 23rd, 2020. And yes, we are rolling right on through the Christmas week. Let's say hello to everybody at fp.com, freedompreppercommunity.com, and of course everyone watching on YouTube. And I'd like to say hello to everybody listening at the Anchor or Spotify podcasts. And today we're going to talk just very briefly. The year is winding down. These stories really haven't changed. Just maybe a different perspective today on foreign interference, which keeps cropping up in the news, as it really has for the past 4 years. Let's dive straight into this. If you've been anywhere near a TV, a radio, or a newspaper the past 4 years, you've heard this constant song of Russia, 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 Russia. Russia rigged our 2016 election and put Donald Trump in office. And, we've had investigation after special counsel, after an impeachment. None of it worked. Total hoax. No evidence there. And now the same people that tell you that Russia rigged the 2016 election in 2020 now tell you that it is impossible for anyone to rig the election. And yet and still, here in December, Russia has popped up again. I mentioned this story the other day about the massive cyber attack on government computers in multiple agencies and large Fortune 500 companies, and they know that Russia did it. Russia, Russia, Russia. The Russians are our enemies. These same ultra-left communists who never said a word about the Soviet Union now think the Russians are the enemy. And they may have been behind this cyber attack. I don't know. I really doubt it, because we know that there are multiple programs that will allow country X to attack country Y while making it look like country Z did it. Russia has nothing to gain from this, and none of this makes any sense. But I found a Reuters story that this week, again, they keep driving it home. The title tells you something. The title of this Reuters story on the wire: Powerful Tradecraft, How Foreign Cyber Spies Compromised America. I would suggest to you that somebody else compromised America, and that there is a related reason why these same people absolutely hate Russia. Why is that? Well, who are these new leftists? And they're the same people as the neocons. They hide on different sides of the coin, but it's always the same thing from them. Where did they all come from? Well, a lot of them came out of Russia. When? Well, back before World War II. Who were they originally the followers of? And why do they hate Russia so much? They are the father of the neocons, these conservative, these gatekeeping conservatives that'll tell you how to run your country the right way, from the right wing, the conservative way. They are the intellectual descendants and followers of Leon Trotsky, a communist so extreme that he was too much for the Stalinist in the Soviet Union. So they were thrown out of Russia because their brand of communism was too extreme for the communist, the same people committing massive atrocities couldn't stomach this guy and his proposals. So they got rid of him, and they got rid of his followers, and these people fled, and they landed, a lot of them, in America. And they tried different tactics, and they, tried to take over and succeeded in taking over parts of the government, finance, the media complex, education. They got into society. They're the ones that compromised our society. So, and now they hate Russia. They still have this 80-year-old grudge, and every chance they get, they attack. It's amazing, and I may try to weave that into some of these other stories. It's not a slow news week. It's just that most of these headlines have been in the news for weeks and weeks and months, and I'm a little tired of them. I want to get Christmas on. We're going to have a great little show tomorrow, and then I haven't really thought of what to do for Friday, but there will be a Christmas special of sorts. Maybe we'll just have some music, and I have thought of the music. Let's just take a brief look at some of the headlines. Go ahead and comment down below at YouTube, and like people are doing, come on over and comment at the community. And again, you're going to see some prepper Christmas fiction at the community starting today, whenever I get that loaded up. And I may even give you a little preview of today's story. I might do a little reading. It'll be fun. We've got, these are not really related stories, but they are. I've got a very good end of the year assessment by Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, who I always look to for guidance in these kind of matters. He was Deputy Secretary of Treasury under Reagan, and a very intelligent and very American man. He just wrote another column, like he always does, looking at the damage that's been done to all of our institutions and trying to make sense of it. What is left of Western civilization in the remains of America? These are problems that we deal with, and that we're going to keep dealing with. I found a related story. It's a long 6,000 word column at UNS, Ron Unn's great site, about, we know who they are. We know where they came from. They, we see their effects in everything every day. Who are we, or who were we? Well, America was started by people from England. WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. And, as a demographic, they've kind of disappeared, and I found a great quote that kind of shines a little light on why that was, and why our ancestors allowed other foreigners to come in and influence our culture to the point that it was compromised. Here's a great quote, and if you're not a WASP, you're a stand-in. So I'm a WASP. I'm a Protestant that became Catholic, but Anglo-Saxon. Anyway, the defining characteristics of WASPs is that they are much less ethnocentristic than other peoples. Indeed, that British stiff upper lip stuff. Indeed, for all practical purposes, the Anglo-Saxon Protestants appear to be all but completely bereft of in-group solidarity. They are therefore open to exploitation by free riders from other more ethnocentristic groups. High trust. Yeah, everybody must be just like us. We don't even take ourselves that seriously, so we'll let people in from XYZ, and if they happen to take over and completely subvert our country, who's to blame? Again, if you're looking for somebody to blame, find a mirror. Let's move on. What else have we got? And they never let up. They never let up. They only notice reality when it's convenient. I got a great story here from Carlos Slim's blog. From the New York Times, which is now owned by Carlos Slim, and it reads like a second-rate blog. It's about defamation. They're noticing defamation. These same people that kicked Nick Sandmann and Kyle Rittenhouse and George Zimmerman and everybody else to the curb, slandered them themselves. They're taking a defensive interest in the people that run Smartmatic. Because we have all these allegations floating around that we're not allowed to talk about here. Mountains of proof, not just evidence, proof. And, these criminal, the alleged wrongdoers, even if they're not the ones who are directly suspected of anything, they're gonna sue all these right-wing media outlets. Projection and fantasy that literally makes no sense. But these are great stories to read to learn how the other side thinks and to know what to watch out for. Another thing they always come back to, this is like the Satanic Panic story. This is exactly like that. Matter of fact, it's a continuation of it. Things happen, facts get reported, and then there's a cover-up. And then for decades, these people who were either involved or they know people who were involved, they'll come back and ridicule you. Don't you remember back in the 80s, you made a fool of yourself, and now you need to, ditch your religion and shut up, and nobody is molesting the kids. And then, of course, it comes out that, yeah, everything that was alleged happened. The kids were molested. Maybe it's time for you people to shut up, but they don't. They keep coming back. I had an encounter with a little gamma not too long ago that I may tell you about later. And he, in his great wall of text nonsense that he threw up, he tries to find, they try to find ways to insult you. Not that it works, but you crazy conservatives, you satanic panic. You think that all these celebrities are out to molest the kids. Yeah, that doesn't happen, but you think it does. Well, okay, then why was it that another Epstein associate was just arrested in Paris? I've got a Daily Mail story about that. The stuff is real. They make fun of it as if they think it's they're the hoax, but they see reality as a hoax. So none of this stuff is really too well related today, but it's Christmas week, so we're going to try to keep it light. Heavy doings in Washington this week. We can all rest easy for Christmas because Uncle Sucker is riding in on his sleigh pulled by rats, and he's going to give us a big lump of coal. They're working hard. They may have already passed the next round of fake stimulus. Trillions of dollars, $600 a person or a household for the little folks, trillions for the banks. I don't even get excited about this stuff anymore. And now there's the specter of another government shutdown. I used to be all over that. I used to cover those stories because they came up every year. And every year there was some fake Republican budget hawk, deficit hawk, who was going to stand there and no, we're going to have a balanced budget, no more debt spending, we're going to leave the debt ceiling alone. They don't even pretend anymore, of course, because they always caved, in the end. Well, just this one more time, and then the next time, and the next time, and it just rolled along. They don't even make a protest anymore. It's just, whose giant spending bill are we going to pass? And so take a look at that. NBC reports that, and they are a most trustworthy news source. You'll have fun with it, especially when your checks roll in for whatever what they are. Unless if you're a commercial banker joining us, I don't really want you here, but you guys have been making out, and I'm sure you will. So, Merry Christmas to you. But Christmas elsewhere is being canceled, and one of our Canadian, was it Monday afternoon, Monday morning, this week, one of our Canadian prepper friends at the community talked about the big new lockdown in Canada just in time for Christmas. 4 more weeks of the bigs being allowed to operate as normal and everybody else being under house arrest like a bunch of prisoners. Hence the term lockdown from the prisons. Same thing in the UK. Bojo, good old wild hair Boris, highly suspect. The wasps again. Can you take something seriously? Yeah, good Lord. Bojo says no Christmas. We can't afford Christmas this year. He's going to have to be Scrooge, bah humbug the whole thing. He's like Ebenezer Scrooge with national power. So everybody in the UK, I know we've got some folks over there, please ignore this man. Please continue. It doesn't matter about the new strain that they have. We've got the vaccine, 2 of them now, a 3rd one's coming. Everything is cured. Oh wait, but this thing just mutates when they need it to keep this thing going forever. This is the new normal they talk about. And at some point, we're all going to have to step back and say, enough is enough. Enough of the act, enough of the theater and the con job. Not to pick on Boris, but check that out. It's going to happen somewhere near you. As if it's, it hasn't stopped all year. What a crazy year. And a good year. I like it. Zero Hedge reports straight from the World Health Organization. Remember, we must trust local health authorities, the CDC, and especially the World Health Organization. If you're not getting your news from them, it's fake news. It's not going to be allowed on YouTube. I personally will not stand for it, which is why I like to go straight to a source like Zero Hedge that cites the new policies from the WHO. And their new policy says that, our PCR test for the coronavirus, it turns out it doesn't work. It's almost like it's made to produce false positives. which will really help getting admissions up and then making it look like this vaccine is working. So, you know, they don't try to hide it. They tell you that. It looks convenient because it is. I really cut a lot of this stuff out. The final word of the day, I found this is late thinking on my part. I thought about, well, Christmas gifts for preppers. Do I have time? We still have time, because Orthodox Christmas is not until January 7th. So, and you can always get your favorite prepper a New Year's gift or a belated Christmas gift. Santa held this one up. Here it is now. I've got a video, Iridium 242 on YouTube, hopefully a channel that's not going to be banned. Came up with 10 excellent Christmas gifts for preppers. So check that out. And again, the fiction. I wanted to give a gift to all of you who are on the community. This is going to be exclusive. You've got to sign up at freedompreppercommunity.com to see this stuff. But today, I'm putting out my weekly column, which sometimes I turn into a fiction when I don't want to make stuff up about the real world. I make stuff up about a pretend world. And this has some existing serial characters of mine involved in potential current events, which have not quite unfolded yet. I just wanted to see what might happen, give it a happy spin for Christmas. So this is from the one that's going to post today. I'll read you the first paragraph. It's set at the London City Airport, the early evening. And if we have any gammas that creep over, this is I sent this for publication at my usual source. I'm going to run it on my blog. It's also going to be exclusive for you guys. Gammas. Okay. I talk about a lone runway at the London City Airport. Bear in mind, if you've been there, great. There's more than one airport in London. Pay attention. I'm looking out for you. Merry Christmas, idiots. Everybody else? No one had explained a word about the sudden change in scenery. An outside NHS doctor spent over an hour assessing his general condition, at intervals consulting with nurses and his solitary handlers. He thought he'd asked for his attorney or his advocate, but he simply couldn't remember. That the flat American accents had tipped him off, and if he was honest, he had long suspected this day would come. They didn't even ask him to sign anywhere, nor did they present him with any writ or order. 4 sturdy men in suits, in addition to the usual guards, had escorted him from the infirmary to the transfer bay. 2 of these bespoke Yankees rode along with him in the back of an SUV. He thought he glimpsed unmarked police cars in a short procession, but he wasn't sure. Just imagine some prisoner in London is getting released, and he goes to the airport and he flies off to freedom, and there's a wonderful happy ending. You're going to like it. Check it out, freedompreppercommunity.com. And tomorrow, Christmas Eve, I'm going to have a just for us, just for the community, prepper-centric Christmas story. I have it written. It's a little on the silly side. You'll recognize the theme. I explained it at the very end. You're going to catch on early. It's a take on a very old and very wonderful Christmas tradition. You'll see that tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We'll go with an early out here. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. So anybody that comes back, I know this is probably going to be a much lighter traffic week based on what I've seen earlier. I understand that. I'm glad you're here with me, and I'll be back tomorrow and Friday, even for Christmas. Have a great Wednesday. I'll see you soon.